Hi, I thought you folks had a wellness program.
We do, sir.
Well, I'm pretty sure having to walk 3 miles to the convention space doesn't really count as a wellness program.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Last week, Japanese scientists placed explosive detonators at the bottom of Lake Loch Ness to blow Nessie out of the water.
It's time for Current Trends with Dave Eisen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to No Vacancy with Glenn Hausman. I am so glad that you are listening today. Man, I'm having such a great time doing this show. We're now 3 months in this latest iteration of the program, and I'm getting such great feedback, and I find that we're really reaching our stride. And, having this regular cavalcade of guests for the opening portion of the show is going great, and I am getting amazing feedback on the guest that I have today, and that is Dave Eisen, my editor-in-chief from Hotel Management, where I serve as editor-in-large. How are you, Dave?
Good morning, Glenn. Great to be back. My third time on, so I'm happy that everyone is. I guess they want me back, right? Is that how that's what it sounds like, huh?
It's actually between you and me. I think they prefer you than me, but okay. what are you going to do?
Oh, I might have a career in podcasting when it's all said and done. We'll see. But I don't want to take it away from you. You're doing a good job.
I think you should. I appreciate it, and I love having you on, and I love the rapport that we're starting to build here. We've known each other for a lot of years, traveling on the road, before I had the fortunate opportunity to become part of the QuestX and Hotel Management family, and I feel like this is just the next level of our relationship, and it's fun to be able to bounce things off of you and talk real wonky about what's going on in this hospitality world.
Absolutely. I'm always up for it, and there's no lack of content to talk about. So that's what makes it great in our industry. So
yes, and one of the things that I'm loving to do is I get to write 2 columns a week for you guys over at hotelmanagement.net. And if you want to follow those columns, make sure you go to hotelmanagement.net, or you could follow me at Twitter at Traveling Glenn with 2 N's in Glenn. And I'll make sure that you get the information when not only the podcasts are posted, but when each and every one of those articles go up. So Dave, you have been out there, you've been on the road, you've been doing a lot of fun things, and one of the cool things I got to do is I hosted a roundtable in June for Hotel Management, and you just had the opportunity to do one focused on wellness real recently down at the Even Hotel down in Maryland. Is that true?
that is correct. I was down there we had a fantastic roundtable, all kind of focused on wellness, and no probably better brand or hotel to host it at than an Even Hotel. As you know, IHG. A few years back, they came out with a brand, which at the time I was a little skeptical of. I was like, is there really enough kind of runway there for a brand that's focused totally on this whole wellness concept?
Yeah, totally agree, Dave.
Yeah, and I think they proved everyone wrong. I think there absolutely is a place for it. Now, the interesting thing is, in talking with their brand leaders down there while I was there, it's not just a hotel that's just about kind of all about health, nutrition. I mean, you can get a drink there. There's a bar. There's a whole thing. So it's really something for everyone. I think what they're tapping into is kind of this lifestyle. I mean, I think the rooms are outfitted with yoga mats and workout products, and you can literally do a workout in your room, because I think a lot of travelers actually like the fact that they can maybe they don't want to go to the gym, they don't want to do it out in front of other people. They can literally get a workout in on the road in a good 10 minutes. They have all kinds of videos to watch, like tutorials helping through it. And I think with Even, they've really tapped into this kind of trend, and I don't even call it wellness. I think it's just a new kind of lifestyle, maybe a paradigm shift we're seeing across the the U.S. And even worldwide. I mean, if you look at smoking rates are down, people are definitely more conscious about their health, and definitely when they're on the road, they want a place where they can stay and be able to be to be healthy and well. And it's funny, Aishi, by the way, is not paying me at all a dime to plug this, and I sound like a shill for them. So,
I was thinking the same thing, Dave, because I got to tell you, I had the same experience as you when it came to the Even Hotels concept. And and it was really great to get to know their brand leader, Adam Glickman, over the last couple of years and understand where they're coming from. I had a chance to go visit one of the hotels 2 years ago, September, and I fell in love with it, Dave, and it makes me feel guilty saying something so positive about a hotel brand.
Right. And, Adam was on a roundtable. Adam's a great guy. And he really, is passionate about this brand. But it's not, like I said before, it's a hotel. And we sound like shills. It's great. Right. But, it's not a brand just for someone who your Lululemon, Athletica, shopper. I mean, you walk in there, they have, from a design standpoint, what I love is, they have the living wall right in the lobby, a great clean effect when you walk in. So it's a really like calming, feel when you walk into the hotel, and it kind of just moves you through different zones, from scent to sound, everything in between.
Don't forget the infused water when you first get in there, Dave. I love that. You have the regular water and then the two flavored waters, and I think that opens it up. And not only that, but they have the water for free on every single floor. And I got my own water bottle when I checked in too, complimentary of Even Hotels.
Is there anything better than free water? I mean, I'll take free anything, but you're talking about when I have to pay $6.
I was going to say free bourbon, Dave, but water's pretty good too.
Water's good. Service is good. But yeah, then we had this great roundtable. We had a bunch of people that really make their living talking about wellness. A lot of consultants from the Washington Spa Alliance. We had someone from there, really talking about what wellness means today. We did a real deep dive into it. We'll have the video up on hotelmanagement.net and an article about it coming out soon. But people, I think wellness is it's really kind of it's become a facet of the daily life today. And
so tell me a little bit about what you learned there, Dave, because the way I see it, if I'm using my own life as a model for how wellness is, it's not necessarily that I'm trying to be uber healthy. Yeah. It's more about everything in moderation. And it's a lot of little steps to make sure that I'm consistently making the right decisions without feeling like I'm denying and depraving myself of stuff.
Yeah, of course. And I think
depriving, I should say, not depraving. That's something completely different. Go on. Sorry. Yeah.
They do that through, F&D. I think it's a huge part. When you think of wellness, you think nutrition, you think of, working out. It's a whole, there's different components to it. But,
Yeah, as I was saying, I see it as really just making smart decisions. And one of the things I like about Even Hotels, and I'm sure you'll have some more insights from the other folks at the panel, is they have that cork and kale restaurant in the lobby. Now, I took my kids there when they were 10 years old, and even they like the type of foods. You think kale, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. But no, it's pretty good. They have things like sliders and sandwiches and thin crust pizzas, type of stuff that's food that's really on trend these days, but just does not need to be unhealthy. And I think, Dave, we're seeing that kind of spread in all other facets of society as well. I can't even believe this. I don't know if you've been seeing those new commercials from McDonald's where they're trying to say that they're all about natural foods and no preservatives, especially when it comes to their chicken McNuggets. It's kind of crazy.
That's but good luck with McDonald's trying to. I don't know. I think they have it's hard to convince people otherwise.
Yes.
When talking about McDonald's, but I will say, we had a woman there named she's Mia Kirikos, who works in wellness in the industry, and she loved the fact that talking about F&B at Even, that they had the great kind of combination of grab and go versus you can order food too, which I think is great in hotels. I love the fact that you can just grab something on the go. Because there they have like and I don't know the names, but the great like health bars that people, they taste, for me they taste a little bit like cardboard, but they're very good for you. They have all the protein and vitamins that you can need. But she loved the fact that you could do something like that. And that's throughout. I think wellness, it's still kind of I use the word shapeless or amorphous. I don't think you can really put a kind of categorize it. It's more about kind of that the feeling, And I think, like a hotel like Even, you get that when you walk through the lobby, to your room, you get that kind of inspiration, and everything, and then they fill it in with all the services and amenities. So I think and I'll tell you one thing, wellness for sure is not a fad, it's a trend. And look what's going on. I mean, Equinox is developing a hotel in New York. I mean, they're a gym, at their core. They own SoulCycle. They're taking their brand and they're saying, you know what, people are so into this lifestyle, this wellness lifestyle, that we can take our brand and turn it into a hotel. I mean, let's think, Glenn, how many brands out there have done that, right? I'm trying to think off the top of my head who have I'm sure there are out there, and I just can't think of them right now, but how many brands out there that aren't, didn't start as hotels, aren't, endemic to the hospitality industry, but taking their brand. I mean, for instance, I'm still waiting for an Apple hotel. I don't know how that hasn't happened yet. A Google hotel, they would still, right? But
I think so too. That's really interesting. I mean, the ones that immediately come to mind are like Bulgari and Nobu hotels, for example.
Exactly. See, they have such a brand kind of loyalty, I think, a fealty to the brand that people love, that they can literally take that brand and turn it into a hotel. And it's interesting. I don't think, that's why I think our industry is so great, that there's so much entrepreneurship, and you can literally go, you haven't seen the other way around. You haven't seen Hilton or Marriott get into branded gyms, so it doesn't even go the other way. Everyone wants to build a hotel, right? It's such a cool industry, and literally people are like, I'm taking my brand, I'm going to build a hotel for it. So
yeah, the only thing, Dave, that upsets me about Even hotels is there aren't more of them. And I don't really understand what's going on, that the development community has not rallied around this brand. Because even if you take out the wellness component, it's a great stay. It's a really nice, on-trend brand when it comes to design and the feeling that I feel as a customer when I'm in their space.
No, I think you make a great point there, and my one problem is, and you're right, their pipeline is it's not really as robust as many of the other upscale brands that we know about. And let me say it to you. You're right, they are fantastic hotels. Did IHG make a bad decision? Instead, if they come out with this brand and said, hey, we have a new lifestyle brand, right? Leave it at that, as opposed to saying we have a brand that's a wellness kind of / lifestyle brand. So I don't know, is it a marketing thing? I mean, obviously the hotel does have those wellness components to it when you talk about, in the room, exercise accessories and a great gym. But did they even really need to market it that way? And is that a problem, a perception for the development community? I don't know.
I think that's a question that we should follow up on, and maybe one worthy of following up on in the pages of Hotel Management magazine. But I think what comes to my mind is that they perhaps made it too wellness focused and people immediately turned it off. But when I had the experience there were folks there that obviously were not into the wellness portion of it that thought it was a great brand. So I think once you stay, you realize how great it is from a guest experience perspective, because none of it is hitting your head over with you must be healthy, you must be healthy. I just don't get it, because it's such a great brand. I wonder I just wonder who in the development community is not thinking that this is a great option, because I see it as a much more viable option than some of these millennial-focused brands that we're seeing now.
Well, you bring up a great point. So Lance Steinberg, okay, he was on our wellness panel. Lance is the developer of the 2 Even hotels in New York, the one that's open now on the west side near Penn Station. He's also building one that's going to open, I believe, in 2017, right on the east side of Manhattan near the UN. He is telling me this. He couldn't be happier. So he's the first in the market with these brands and with the IHG engine behind it, which is great. But he's telling me that he's getting a premium over over his comp set in terms of rate. Now, I don't know whether or not that's because of the brand itself, or whether that's because it's new supply in the market and everyone likes to stay at new hotels. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but he's telling me he's a developer. He's doing 2 of them. And he couldn't be happier with the way it's turned out so far.
Yeah, and one of the things that I also liked about it, besides the water and the in-room exercise system, is they've got a little shelf that you can pull down and use as a stand-up desk. And again, I think that's a smart contemporary way of looking at how people are working and utilizing a space.
Yeah, they have the stand-up desk, which people love. You pull it right down. And I forgot to mention, and they have a fantastic bed experience. I mean, they have the, getting back to healthy living. They have the, eucalyptus sheets. They keep you cool at night. which, as a sweater like me, I need all the coolness I can have, right, when I'm sleeping. But
I didn't know you were a sweater. That's good to know.
Yeah, well, it's probably because my air conditioning doesn't work as well as it should be, but that's something else I have to check into. But they have a great sleep experience, which when it comes down to it, forget all the wellness stuff. When people check in a hotel, they still want, what are the three things they want? They want a clean room, they want it safe. I know there's a third one, but cleanliness and safety, comfortable. I mean, those are the hallmarks of a great hotel, and again, we're sounding like I think IHG should hire us to be brand ambassadors for Even after this.
I think that's a great idea. And hello, Even. Make checks payable to Glenn and Dave at hotelmanagement.com. We'd love that. So thank you. I agree. And one of the other things that I'm seeing here is brands are starting to do new and different and interesting things. And I've been working with Red Lion in some capacity, but you're seeing a new relationship that they're having right now when it comes to the way that they're trying to partner with Expedia in order to drive knowledge about their Hello Rewards program, for example.
Right. This is actually, I was like, I don't know if the word is astonished, because how many times you get astonished in your life. But so as you know, Glenn, all the big hotel companies, branded hotel companies, from Hilton, I think Hilton might have been the first that really came out with it. They've all been kind of wanting to wean themselves off the online travel agencies, the Expedias of the world, Pricelines of the world, and moving their customers, particularly their loyalty members, to book direct with them, right? And it makes sense, from a cost standpoint, it's your cheapest channel when you book direct, as opposed to booking with an Expedia or otherwise, where any intermediary where you're going to be paying a commission on that, right? So they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to do everything we can to make it easier and more cost value to book with us. So that, they were putting forth member only rates that were cheaper, discounted rates, I guess, that you could only get through booking at like Hilton.com.
That drives me crazy, by the way, Dave. These member only loyalty rates. As far as owners are concerned, we're at the peak of the business right now, and you're giving discounts to people that aren't your most loyal members already. What's going to happen when the inevitable happens and the market starts to fall out? Where do you go from there if you're already going down at the peak market?
Right. It's you make a great point there, but I don't know whether or not they thought it through or not, but that's their thing. They want to get people in their loyalty programs. That's another conversation altogether. I mean, maybe it's because I'm a Gen Xer, but loyalty to me, some people are really engaged in loyalty programs. Me, not really, but I would love to do a study on the engagement in loyalty programs to really see. I'm sure someone has, and I haven't read it yet, but I think that's really interesting. But anyway, getting back to it, Hilton came out with their program. I think it was called Stop Clicking Around campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Marriott came out. Choice Hotels comes out. Hyatt comes out. They all come out. This is what, and we know about this. It's all, and they're lock in step with each other. The sea of sameness. One person does one thing and everyone else follows. If there was like starter with the bed wars, and everyone had to have the most comfortable bed. Then everyone had to have a 50-inch flat screen TV. Everyone it mimics everyone else in this industry, and that's, I think, one of the things that happened here. They're like, oh, this is one person did it. Well, Hilton did it. We have to do it, right?
And I think that's really dangerous, because that takes you away from what Even Hotels is doing, and you're actually commoditizing the product and making it all just the same old, so you're going to be competing on price.
Exactly. But so then, and I was writing about it yesterday, and I called them Mavericks for doing it. We had this news about Red Lion. So Red Lion, as you know, they're based out in Washington. They have about 114 hotels, so they're not huge, but they're not tiny either. They have bandwidth. But what they've done is they've been total contrarians and said, you know what? Not only are we going to stay with putting our hotels partnering with Expedia, because they've been a partnership with them since I think 2008. But you know what? We're going to take a step forward. We're going to be the exact opposite of what bigger brands are doing. And in fact, I wrote a column yesterday that will be in our next September issue of Hotel Management, and I compared it to an episode of Seinfeld where George, if you remember this, he does his whole life has been a failure, because because the way he's gone about his life. So instead, he decided to do everything opposite, and everything started working out
Yes.
for him. So I called the call him, yes, I will do the opposite, which is exactly what George Costanza said in that episode. So basically what they're doing now is they partnered, Redline and Expedia have a partnership which enables users on Expedia.com and Hotels.com to have access to Redline's member-only rates that were otherwise only available through its Hello Rewards program. So they're basically like, we're going to give, we're going to be as transparent with Expedia. All their users can literally sign up for Hello Rewards via the Expedia sites. So they're there, we talk about getting in bed with the OTAs. They are fully in bed. They are engaged. That's for sure. I don't want to make it too lascivious for your listeners, but they are absolutely 100% hand in hand on this. And I just think it's interesting to see a brand come out and say we're going to do something totally different than what everyone else is doing. And whether or not, I said in the thing, whether or not they might have shot themselves in the foot by doing this, or if they struck gold, remains to be seen. But they're definitely doing something differently, and you got to applaud Redline. You got to applaud their CMO Bill Lenahan for taking this tack. And I think I wish there were more Mavericks like them in the industry, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do too, and I agree. But what is Redline ultimately going to get out of this, other than lowering prices for people that might not be Hello Rewards programs?
Well, listen, we had an exclusive interview with Bill Lenahan yesterday, who's like I said, the chief marketing officer and EVP for Redline, and he had a fantastic quote that I will read to your audience. So he was basically saying, we're talking about this deal, and he said his quote was, "Who has a greater ubiquity of inventory than the OTAs? And so aren't I better off marketing within that marketplace and utilizing that as one part of my marketing strategy?" That's what he said. So he basically, listen, we can go on and on about the OTAs. You know what happened, and you've heard brand executives time and time again in conferences, lambast OTAs. But, after 9/11, whatever it was, recession, they let them into the door. They gave them inventory. And to the OTA's credit, obviously they have these huge marketing kind of war chests that they can use. Yeah. $3 billion. I think Expedia spends $3 billion a year just on marketing, TV ads, and what have you. People go there, use these sites to book, and I don't know how you educate people. They always talk about the brands like, oh, we have to educate them that they're not getting a better deal on an OTA and that they're, booking direct is the way to go. Yeah, fine, but you know what? It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. People aren't going to stop going to OTAs. You know what I mean?
Well, they're not. And I'll tell you what, Dave, I think the real issue that the hotel industry has yet to come to terms with is the fact that Expedia and Booking.com really attract the type of user that's not prone to be loyal. We talk about how half of the airline trips taken in the country are by folks traveling once a year. So right. Those are the same types of people that are going onto these websites. Expedia and Booking.com have such great brand resolution with folks in their brains that right. They immediately go to those sites. Not only that, but they don't even take up that large of percentage of inventory in a hotel. So I'm really starting to lose my understanding for why hotel brands don't appreciate what these third-party OTAs do for the actual business.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's, listen, at the end of the day, so I'll throw out a theory, not a theory, but something that I think you'll probably think is crazy. But anyway, the great thing about OTAs is their interfaces. Now, you can go there and shop around. So I can go there and say, I'm going to Spokane, Washington, show me all the hotels that fit my, whatever radius. So I might have a Courtyard, a Red Lion, a Hilton Garden Inn. So I get it all right there, and I can literally shop around, right? You can't go on Hilton.com and see Marriott rates. You can't go on Hyatt.com and see Hilton rates. You know what I'm getting at? I'm telling you.
I know exactly what you're getting at. I'm actually working with a company now called Logic. It's a new way of looking at revenue management. Yeah. And what they're doing to help revenue managers understand how to create the best rate is they're doing what they call an outside-in approach. And they're taking a lot of data from different areas of the market, such as weather, special events, demand trends, all what your competition in the market is doing that's in your category and other hotel categories. categories to give you that insight to really create the better prices. And I think that that's in line with how customers really shop. And that's something that the brand.com websites can't deliver to the customers.
Well, let me take it a step further, though, and this is what I'm getting at. If you've ever seen those Flo, who does those progressive ads,
How could you not have seen her? I keep thinking, what a lucky woman that person is. She's been doing this for like 10 years. Good for her.
I'm sure she's getting some nice checks in the mail. Her and the AT&T girl, they're all they're ubiquitous across our TV screen. But as you know, in those
I just want to say that she gets a $500,000 a year salary according to CelebrityNetWorth.com. So good for Flo. Her name is Stephanie Courtney. Yes.
See, this is the kind of education and knowledge you can only get on the Glenn Houseman No Vacancy podcast. So.
Yes, all the important stuff. Sorry to cut you off for that important.
No.
News.
If I can learn more about pop culture from you, then I'm all ears. Give it to me. What I was getting at is, when you go Progressive, you can shop around. Like you go to Progressive.com, they might not be the best rate, and they're going to tell you, maybe Geico or whatever is insurance is a cheaper rate. I'm telling you, one day, one of these hotel brands, it's not going to be a Marriott or a Hilton. One of these brands is going to be, they're going to show not only their rates, but other hotel rates on their website. I'm telling you, I think that's going to happen. I do. It's not going to be anytime soon, but I think it's a way to make it more transparent and easier because ultimately guests want to have all the facts, all the research handy, you know what I mean? And that's right now.
Well, that's the philosophy, Dave, that they took when it came to putting up like TripAdvisor rates, and commentary on some of these websites.
And they were like, oh, let's make ourselves transparent. So if we have a bad review, you know what, we're still going to show it. But I'm just saying, if they really want to engage customers, and I think there's going to be a day where they might be, like I said, you might go on choicehotels.com and see rates for Vantage or another brand that's out there. I mean, this could happen.
Very interesting way of looking at things. But I would be concerned, as a hotel industry professional on that side of the business, wondering, well, then isn't it going to be a race to the bottom when it comes to price? Or how would you differentiate yourself to say, well, we're charging you more, but we're worth it? Have you thought maybe about that a little bit?
That's the rub, right? I mean,
yeah.
Obviously as a hotel owner, I want my rate to be comparable to my comp set, if not higher. Everyone loves RevPAR when it's led by ADR. So you're right. It's about value, price. It's hard. It's a hard business, man. It is. I just think that, customers perceive value now. They do. And I think customers will absolutely pay for it when they know they're getting a good value. So I think it's just a matter of kind of how you engage, how to engage your customer base, and I just think if you can be as transparent as you can, and I think they appreciate it when they're, a lot of brands, as they always say that we're the best. We have listen, man, we write about this stuff for a living. If I had a dime for every time a hotel brand leader said that it's all about the experience and we create this non-cookie cutter experience, I'd be a billionaire 3 times over. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah. But to take it back to Red Lion, where we started this portion of the conversation, what I really like about their Hello Rewards guest loyalty program is they are trying hard to accentuate the experience, and they're trying to surprise and delight their guests with rewards that are geared specifically towards what they like. So, if you like Nike, you'll be able to redeem your reward points for a gift certificate to Nike, for example, as opposed to having to, get something that you don't care about, like more snack food to your room that you might not be interested in.
Yeah, I think anything that hotel companies can do to take their programs and, it's basically, you have to listen to what your customers want. So, I myself am a Reebok man, so I think I'm skipping over Nike for now, but they want to be able to use their points, what have you, for things that they want. Now, I wanted to ask, run something by you. Did you see this today? It's hot news, and I think I got an email from, I am a Marriott Rewards member. I can't even remember how many points I had. I don't even remember my password, so that's another whole thing altogether. But they came out with this whole bid points for experiences. So I guess it's like an auction type style. So you can literally bid for. Is this new? Because I just saw this today.
It's not new in theory. American Express has been doing stuff like this, and I believe Starwood had done some stuff like this previously.
Yeah, so Marriott Awards is doing it now. It says it's new, and the whole thing is you want to redeem points for things like cruises and concerts. God knows I would never want to redeem anything for a cruise. That's something there's my vote of confidence for the hotel industry. Stay away from cruises if you can.
I guess, CLIA is not going to be hiring you anytime soon there, Dave, the Cruise Line Industry Association.
It's just not my thing, you know what I mean? But whatever. But basically, they're saying now you can set your own price by bidding auction style on certain experiences. So you can literally find something you want to do, whether it's a sports event, some kind of culinary adventure, and you can use your points, but you can bid them out. So it's like eBay, right? So you can literally bid just like an auction. If you place the highest bid by the end of the auction, you win. So you could, you have the chance to win that fantastic Carnival cruise to the Bahamas, and you may only have to use, I don't know, 1,000 points to do it. I don't know,
right.
But
whatever it is, it is. But I get what you're saying, and I love that idea, especially when you're talking about experience and, more importantly, access to things. Over the last 5 or 10 years, I've seen in Las Vegas, for example, for a while. I remember when Bette Midler had a regular show there. You could pay extra to have a meet and greet with her. And I've seen other celebrities do that sort of thing, and you could bid on that sometimes online. I've seen that, and I think that is really the best way to connect with your guests. They're willing to pay a premium in points compared to what they otherwise would have used for some hotel rooms, and they collect that memory, which is really on trend with how people are taking trips these days, and then they're going to talk about it on social media and be the best advocate for your brand possible. So I think this is one of those situations where it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and man, I'm using as many points as possible to get a meet and greet with Bette Midler, and maybe she can serenade me with, "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings," which is one of all my favorites.
Well, that's how I feel about you, Dave. You are the wind beneath my wings. That's for sure.
I try to prop you up, So.
Excellent. Any other thoughts on this particular topic, Dave?
Nothing. But you brought up a good point about social media, and I wanted to actually I wrote a story, a column about how to win and lose customers in a flash, and I thought it was interesting because we write about the industry all the time, hospitality industry, which is hotels, it's car, it's cruise lines, everything, but even when you're going on a regular shopping spree or what have you, when you go into a restaurant, what have you. And I had some interesting, and I literally call it, you can literally, when we're talking about the experience, win over a customer, make them loyal to you for life, or you can lose them in a second.
That's true.
And I think it's really important, I think, to train staff. And I sometimes I hate to use the word train, but you can train for how to use a PMS, CRM, that kind of thing. But you really can't train for how to really deal with people. You know what I mean? That's kind of inherent in someone.
That's where you have to hire for personality, right, Dave?
Exactly. You have to hire for personality. You can train for all the kind of mundane or minutia that they have to go through in a day, but you can't train someone to just be a good person. And I had some experiences. One that I thought was really telling. I rented a car from Enterprise, and what happened was I was in a horrible traffic jam coming back.
Right.
I was returning the car an hour later than I was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing, so I got there, and first of all, they were they came by my car, and I get up there, and he looks at the gas tank, and he goes, "Oh, how much gas is in the tank?" Because car rentals, you bring it back full. Went out full, it comes back full, and I just I was this long 5-hour trip that should have taken 2.5 hours, whatever it was, and I only had I think 3/4 of the tank. So I'm like, well, I'm definitely getting dinged for this one, right? And instead, the guy goes, "You know what, man? Don't even worry about it. You're like 1/4 off. It's close enough. Thanks, and have a great night."
Wow,
dude, I was like, are you serious? I mean,
that's amazing because a quarter tank is really like a half a tank. The way that those things work, they stay full forever, and they go boom right to empty.
Well, I was just like, I can't, I thanked you profusely, but it made my night. It was just like, and when I'm going to rent a car again, I'm going to think, you know what? And I'm thinking, hey, Enterprise, that sounds like it's good to me. So they're going to be top of mind. It's not going to be Hertz. It's not going to be Avis. Not that I've had really, and that's the thing. It's not like I've had really bad run-ins with any other car rental company, but they're like, they stand out in my mind now because they made such a magnanimous gesture that I'm going to go back. I'm going to be loyal to them. So I think when we talk about loyalty, I think there are loyal people out there. And we talk about loyalty programs. It's not the program, right? I don't think it's a program thing. It's like I go to Marriott hotels, I go to Starwood hotels, I go to Hilton hotels because I love the feeling I get when I go there. And I know people are going to take care of me. They're going to remember my name, not even like preferences. Like we always hear the time like, oh, when I get to my room, there's, my particular brand of vodka waiting for me. Yeah, that's great. But it's all about
right.
The kind of, the rapport you might have at a certain hotel that you always travel to when you're in town, when you're in Detroit or something like that. And you can't do that through, bricks and mortar. It's the people inside. And I think that's how you ultimately win over customers is through exchanges like the one I had with Enterprise. So I had to call them out for that one.
Well, you get that. You got that right, Dave, because in the hotel business, as we talked about, we're really heading towards some commoditization in a lot of the product that's out there. And the only way to really break through the clutter is to have your staff make those personal connections to create those memories for the people. It really comes down to the one-on-one conversations with folks. And at car rental companies, I think it's even more pronounced because who cares what company you're using? You're really just looking for the lowest price. So in order for Enterprise to stay in your brain, it's absolutely critical to have that personal interaction and connection with that customer.
And you're 100% right on that. I mean, for me, it's all about when I rent a car, I'm going to, hey, sorry, and this is a plug for the OTAs. I'm going to Hotwire, right? And I'm getting the best rate I can because you're right. Who cares if I get a Chevrolet Impala from Enterprise or Hertz or what have you? But you know what, man? Like, when I go through have an experience like that, I'm going to say, maybe I'm going to I want my money going to Enterprise. Maybe I pay a little more for it, but I know that I'm going to be treated like I am. And even before, I should have known even before when I picked the car up, I remember going there and the guy, not just threw the keys to me and said, go to lot. He walked me out to the car. He allowed me to choose the one I wanted. Like there were a few. So dude, it comes down to stuff like that. And I think I think that's how you get loyal customers. That's how you do it.
Right. And I've got to compliment Enterprise and the new Joe McHale commercials. I like those. I like those too. I think they're pretty funny, and they help break through the clutter a little bit as well.
Did you just make a Joe McHale reference?
I did. Yes. First of all, I've liked Joel McHale for a lot of years, but I do like the new commercials that he has with all of the different personalities that he has within the commercial, all the different cars that fit them.
Joel McHale on the Soup is probably one of my favorites. Here's some pop culture news. Did you know that he played tight end for University of Washington in college?
No. I had no idea he was a football player.
That is true. Before he became Chevy Chase's sidekick in what's that show, Parks and Recreation? No, not Parks and Recreation.
Community.
One of those NBC shows I never
Community.
Watched.
Yeah.
Community, there you go.
Right, which I think then moved to TBS or something like that.
Are you asking me if I'm loyal to CBS? Is that what you said?
No. It moved from one network over to TBS, I believe, the Turner Broadcasting System on cable. Yeah. So overall, really interesting. What other customer service stuff have you seen, Dave?
Well, you know what? Let's go to the bad side of it because for everything that's good that happens to you, there's some really stuff that you're like that leaves a real sour taste in your mouth. So I was in Spain, which is a beautiful country, and don't get me wrong. I was there I'll say I was there on holiday because it is Europe. So anyway, I was there on vacation, and we were up in the northern part in Galicia in a town called Centeno. My pronunciation is getting really good. I have my girlfriend is of Spanish descent, so I'm trying to learn Spanish.
Well, I'm very impressed at it too.
There you go. Anyway, we stayed at a hotel. It was a beautiful, nice hotel right on the beach. Great pool. Nothing. The room was fine. So this is a weird thing. So These are the kind of experiences that make it such that you're never probably going to go back to a hotel, but you're gonna leave a social media imprint. You're gonna go on TripAdvisor and give them a 1-star and say how bad of an experience you have. But anyway, I'll make it short. They had a spa there. It was a spa with like a hot tub, whirlpool, that kind of thing, steam room, sauna. And if you know me, I love a good steam after a long day at the beach. You know what I mean? So
if there's anything I know about Dave Eisen, is he loves a good steam. I mean, you can't shut up about it, man. Every day, steam.
Anything with steam on there. But anyway, so they had this policy at the hotel, which is great. So every guest gets one spa usage for free, right? Complimentary. Fantastic. All right.
That's a pretty sweet deal. I've never seen anything like that before.
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, they had, anyway, so I get back there. I think you have to schedule it. So I think I did it for like 4 p.m. So then I think what happened was I called because I couldn't make it. We were still on the beach. My girlfriend loves the beach. I can't get her off it. So we had to change the time from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Something like that. Great. Okay. So you come to the front desk where you have to like check in, blah, blah, blah. And for some amazing reason that's just beyond me, I don't even know, maybe he was having a bad day, whatever it was. But instead of just saying, okay, we were there for it, let us in, blah, 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 he started accusing us, telling us that we had already used it before and that we were trying to get in for a second time, right?
What?
So, yeah, so like that we were literally trying to, through like some kind of, clandestine way, get into the spa for a second time without paying for it. Okay, so that's not true, obviously.
You pushed it back 2 hours later, and he thought that you had the temerity to come in and try to get in a second time when you probably could have just sat in there the whole time.
And this guy is literally, the front desk guy is literally dressing us down, and there are other people around, like in the lobby, and he's literally like shaking his finger at us, saying, you've already used it, blah blah blah. He relented after like 10 minutes of back and forth of haggling. But I mean, can you imagine, first of all, we were mortified because this guy was doing this to us. A, and B, it wasn't true. Regardless, I mean, I could have had up till then I could have had the greatest sleep experience. I could have had the greatest, F&B experience. I'm never coming back to that hotel. I mean, granted, I may never be back in that town either. But I'm not going to ever go back to the hotel. Okay, I'll remember it. And if someone asks me, hey, I heard you've been to Spain. Can you recommend a place to stay? Not only am I not going to recommend this place, I'm going to tell him steer clear of it. And it's just because it's one bad experience. But it goes back to the fact that's how you win and lose customers in a flash. Just a small instance like that, and you lose them for life. So that was my bad kind of experience that I had to write about.
Well, that's a real shame that they would do something like that. It's the same way I feel about resort fees. When they first started, it was very nefarious, and nobody ever told you anything about it up front. And I felt that I should not have to pay for a resort fee for a hotel that has the name resort in its title. So I had a big fight with them. They refused to take it off, and I'm proud to say that a few weeks later, somebody happened to be going to the same city. They wanted to stay at that hotel. They asked me my opinion, and I turned the business away. And that hotel lost several $1,000s in business from that one situation alone. So they could charge $25 all they want, but it's going to be real hard for them to make up that thousands of dollars in revenue that they lost because of the way they handled that situation.
Lesson learned: do not cross Glenn Houston while he's on the road. But go beyond that. The resort fee is ridiculous because what am I paying for? A towel? Where is that $25 going? A towel? And I mean, and to be honest with you, if a resort has to charge for these types of things, I think it's ridiculous anyway. But then do it a la carte maybe, because a lot of people go to resorts but don't. I go to resorts, hotels. I don't always use the amenities that they have available to me, but they're still charging me for. So there's got to be a better way to go about it than just having a flat out whatever the fee is, $25, $30 a day for who knows what you're paying for anyway.
Yeah, well, for Caesars Entertainment, they originally would not do any resort fees, and they had an ad campaign that was against the resort fees when it came to their Las Vegas properties. Then they decided to add resort fees, and they said that guests demanded the resort fees because they want the convenience of paying for, I guess, stuff that they don't want all together in a bundle. So You can get great stuff like fax service and notary service. So next time you go to Las Vegas, make sure to bring all of your notary needs with you, Dave. So that way you could make up for that $33 a day.
Yeah, man. I always need a good notary when I'm in Vegas, right, to get me out of jail when I get locked up.
I don't know how many times I've been struck with wondering where to get a notary while on vacation in Las Vegas.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're getting married, maybe I don't know.
I have no idea.
The faxing thing is. Although I will say this, my friend, to be contrarian about that. Yep. Maybe a resort fee. You know what? A resort fee of $25 ain't so bad because I have been in Vegas, for work, hotels where I needed to fax something, and they charge you, I think, like $10 a page. So it's like you're not going to. You know what it is, man? You're going to Vegas. You're not going to win. Everything there has an exorbitant cost to it. But I agree with you. Resort fees, they are kind of the bane of all of our existences.
Yeah, oh well, what are you going to do about it? I'm certainly not going to continue to harp on that particular subject. For those of you who listen to the show regularly, know that I love to complain about those resort fees. Anything else that you could think about when it comes to good customer service, bad customer service?
No, I just think it's all about hiring the right type of people, and I think it's very important for HR people to be able to, when they're meeting with someone to establish, look inside almost and see them for the qualities that you can't teach, right? So, and I for one probably don't have that strength to do that, but I'm sure there are hiring people out there that know what to look for when they're hiring someone. You definitely have to hire for character, hire for character. That's all I can say. So that's what you got to do.
Yep, I agree, and I think that's a really great point. And let me open it up to all of the listeners out there. I'd love to hear some of your great customer service stories, and conversely, some of the bad experiences that you might have had. I think they're fun to share. They're a great learning lesson, and maybe we'll get some laughs out of it too. So be sure to send those to glenn@rouse.media. That's ROUSE.media, or find me on Twitter or Instagram @travelingglenn. You got 2 G's there in the middle and 2 N's in Glenn. Now, Dave, I want to hear, before we sign off here, how can people find you? Tell us a little bit more about hotel management, maybe how they could get a subscription, and all of that interesting stuff.
Absolutely. So Hotel Management is a more than century-old publication. We've been around 140 years. I think that's pretty amazing. We've been through wars, and we're still chugging along. We're online too at hotelmanagement.net. You can find us there for all our great digital content. Subscription, if you email me, I'll give you my email address too. That's David Eisen. It's D-Eisen, E-I-S-E-N, at questex.com, QUESTEX.com. Email me with your name, what your title is, and we can look. We have, in our business, we have a controlled subscription. So if you're in the industry, that's who we're trying to reach out to, a publication. We also have a ton of events that we do, that we operate. Our next event actually coming up soon is in Chicago, November 16th and 17th, our NAFIC Midwest Conference. It's a great investment conference. It's a regional conference, which is great. It's going to be focusing on everything having to do with Midwest hotel development, investment, operations, brands, the whole thing. So it really big, really going to be focusing on those markets like, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Kansas City, these types of markets. It's going to be a great thing. So if you want to learn more about that, go to nathic.com for information, speakers, and how to register. And you can reach me. My preferred social channel is Twitter. So you can you can find me there, David Eisen, the number 3. So it's @David Eisen 3. That's how you can find me on Twitter. That's where I'll be.
Excellent. And I should say that I'll be up at NAFIC as well, I am told. So if you want to meet both Dave and me in person, make sure you register for that show and come there. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't had the opportunity yet, Dave, to be at that particular conference. I've always heard good things, and I think this year is going to be the best one ever from the indications that I'm getting.
You'll love it. We have already some great people lined up. We have the president of Graduate Hotels. If you know Graduate Hotels, they're a university-centric hotel brand that was started by AJ Capital Partners. Ben Weprin is the CEO there. But we have the president of Graduate Hotels. He'll be there. We have the managing director of Geller Capital Advisors. I'm sure all of your listeners out there know the fabulous Lawrence Geller. He started his own development company or investment company. They own the Conrad Chicago, the Waldorf Astoria Chicago, so he'll be there. So we have some great people coming. And Glenn, we got to do a live podcast there. Maybe we can get some guests on.
I think that would be a great idea. We could do it on stage, do it directly to tape, and then get it out to listeners the same day. I think that's fabulous.
Do it, man.
And great. So I want to thank all of you for listening. Man, this is the longest conversation that we've had to date, and I'm thinking that this might just be it for the entire show for the week. So I'll save an interview for next week because we're about to bump up against that 50-minute mark, and I don't want to push it too long. You guys have been wonderful to listen. I want to thank you all, and we will be back next week. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Glenn. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.